Greetings everyone, it's good to be with you again. It's been a little bit since our last video and I'm happy to be back with you. I'm also glad, but I'm happy to be back with you. Today we're going to review our answers on page 112 and then do our exercises on page 113. And today is a very special video because we have a special guest that we'll have in the second half of our video. But before we start with that section, let's review what we talked about in our last video with the present unreal conditionals. And if you remember, our present unreal doesn't really have a present, and what does it mean by unreal? Let's talk with the unreal first. Our present unreal are talking about situations that are possible or imaginary, or I like to think if it would happen in an ideal world or the best world or the world that we really wanted. That's when we're talking about the unreal, that's what we're talking about. This is not what would happen today or what would really happen. This is what might happen, what could happen, what possibly could happen, or what we would want to happen if we could make it happen. So it's kind of, if we create an idea in our mind, if this thing happened, then these other things would happen because of this first thing. But this idea is not real yet. It's unreal. It can't happen, or it's not real yet. And so we use the unreal. So it's a possibility. It's imaginary, or I like to say it's what would happen in an ideal world, or the best world, or a world where we can make anything happen and make everybody do what we wanted them to do. So that's when we would use the unreal. And as a reminder, we're going to talk about the present part of the unreal. When we make a present unreal conditional, it starts with if, and then our verb is in the past. And then we have our second clause, and our verb would be would, plus our verb, and that's going to just be in the simple present. So for example, here's our example sentence. If I traveled anywhere in the world today, I would go to Italy. Right. It's not really possible for several reasons. One, I don't have the money just to buy a plane ticket and travel to Italy today. Also, there's this thing called the coronavirus, and that's causing people not to be able to travel, and Italy has been a really hard hit country, and so it's not safe to travel there. So this is not a possible statement. This is an unreal statement, right? But this is my imagination. This is something I think about. It's a possibility. If there were a possibility, this is where I would go. So let's check our verbs real quick. Here is my action or my situation. If I traveled anywhere in the world today, and here, just as a double check, traveled is in the past tense. And then my result or my effect of this possible situation, I use would, and then my verb in the simple present, go. And if you remember, I can also rewrite it I can also rewrite my sentence so that my effect or my result comes first, and then my action, my possible action comes second. So in the first sentence, my possible action situation comes first, and my second sentence, it comes second. And the other difference is in the first, when the action or situation comes first, I have a comma. Here, with the result or effect comes first, no comma. Okay. And our final piece of review. Would and could. We use would when we are 100% sure. If we know this is going to happen, it's a guarantee, then we use would. But if we're less sure, or if it's one of many possibilities, we use could. So we use would if it's a 100% sure. We know this will happen. This result will happen because of that action. We use 100%. If it's 100% sure, we would use would. But if we are less sure, it's one of many possibilities, or it may happen, may not happen, we use could. And as an example of could, if I had $1 million, I could buy a boat. If I had $1 million, I don't have to buy a boat, but it is one of many possibilities I could do with that $1 million, right? But if it's something you know you will do, if I had $1 million, I would invest it, right? If I had $1 million, I know I would do this one thing, I would invest it, right? I am 100% sure, but if I had $1 million, I could buy a boat. It's one of many things. Buying a boat is one of many things I could do with that $1 million. So I'm less sure about what I will do, and I will use could. All right? So that was a quick review, and now let's go over our exercise from our last video, or on page 112. We finished the video by listening to the answers. I'm going to start by reading aloud the answers, and then we'll go through and talk about them one by one. All right, so page 112, 2A practice. Number 1, many people put their newspapers in the trash can. If everybody recycled newspapers, we would save millions of trees. Number 2, Noah never takes his car in for a tune-up. Noah's car would use less gas if he tuned up his car regularly. Number 3, Mr. Brown drives his own car to his job downtown. I think Mr. Brown could save money on gas if he carpooled to work. Number 4, many items in the supermarket are packaged in plastic. If you bought products that are packaged with recycled paper, you would help to reduce global warming. Number 5, Jessica always stays in the shower for a very long time. If Jessica took shorter showers, she would save water. Number 6, some kinds of fish contain large amounts of lead, a poisonous metal. I think you could be healthier if you stopped eating fish that contain lead. Right. So let's talk about these one by one. Start with number 2, since number 1 is an example. Right. Noah never takes his car in for a tune-up. Noah's car would use less gas if he tuned up his car regularly. Right. Here, it's 100% sure, right? Why? Because it's a guarantee that if you take care of your car by well, let me back up. Let me talk about tuned up first. If we tune something up, it means to change the oil, maybe change the air filters, put in, check the radiator, check the coolant in the radiator, check the air pressure in the tires. That's what we do in a tune-up. Actually, it's not. We replace spark plugs and distributor caps. For those of you whose husbands are mechanics, ask them to interpret what I just said to you. But anyway, the tune-up. If you say tune-up, you're going to get your spark plugs checked and your distributor. But a check to get it serviced would be change the oil, check the fluids like the coolant, brake fluid, change air filters, whatnot. But anyway, same idea. Getting the car looked at, making sure it's running, right? So, like your body, if you take care of your body, you will use your energy the best. So it's a guarantee that you will feel better if you take care of your body. So just like you take care of your car, the better you take care of the car, the better it will work. So we're going to use would here. So here, the result happens first. Noah's car would use less gas if he tuned up his car regularly. So here, would use, and then the if statement comes second. And in that, we used the past tense, so tuned, if he tuned up his car regularly, right? So we make tune past tense, not up. Up is a preposition, so we can't do that. But this is a phrasal verb, and so tuned up is in the past tense. Right. Fading. Number 3. Mr. Brown drives his own car to his job downtown. I think Mr. Brown could save money on gas if he carpooled to work. Could save and carpool. Here, it's a maybe. We're not 100% sure. It's possible he could save money, but the person he carpools with, maybe their car is not as fuel efficient. Maybe their car uses lots of gas, and so he has to pay more gas. Or pay his friend more for gas. Or he has to pay all the, if there's a toll road, he has to pay for all the tolls, right? It's not a guarantee, but it's a possibility that he could save money, but not for sure. And you can see, so we're not 100% sure, it's just a possibility you could save, and carpooled, and pooled, we're going to make past tense. So, and here is our action statement comes second, and that's why we put it here. And as a reminder, carpooled means when people ride together to get to the same location. And yes, you can make that into a verb. Right, number 4. Many items in the supermarket are packaged in plastic. If you bought products that are packaged with recycled paper, you would help reduce global warming. So, bought would help. So here the idea is that it's 100% sure because it takes less energy to make recycled paper than it would to make something new paper. Because to get new paper, you have to go to the woods, cut down the tree, bring the tree back, chop up the tree, right? A lot more steps. Here, you're taking paper that's already been chopped down, you're just taking it and recycling it and then making it into new paper. So you take out many steps and you save energy. So that's why we say would help, and our past tense of buy is bought. Number 5, Jessica always stays in the shower for a very long time. If Jessica took shorter showers, she would save water. So took past tense of take, and would save. So if you look at the ways you use water, and you say, oh, I take long showers. If I want to save water, I can take a shorter shower. And because I take the shorter shower, it's a guarantee. We are 100% sure that we will save water, as long as we don't change our other water habits. But if it's a guarantee, if you stop doing one thing, it will save on the other end. It will save, right? So if I stop drinking so much coffee, I would have my coffee would last longer, right? Because it's a guarantee because I'm not using a lot of coffee in one day. The coffee I stop drinking I'll be able to use down the road. Same idea with the water. The water I don't use showering, I will have later, so I will save. Right. And then number 6, some kinds of fish contain large amounts of lead. Lead, it says a poisonous metal. A lot of times it used to be in paint and in metal pipes, that we no longer have it, mostly, but it's bad for the body. I think you could be healthier if you stopped. And rewrite that because that looks horrible. Could be healthier if you stop eating fish that contains lead. So here, again, we're using the past tense of stop with our if statement, our action statement. Why could be? Well, it's not a guarantee, and that's not the only way. The only way you could be healthy, or the only way to make yourself healthy. And it's if you stop eating fish with lead, it doesn't mean you will be healthier. It's possible, but not 100% sure, because there are many reasons or factors that could make you unhealthy. So that's why we use could be. Okay, that's our review of our exercise on page 112, and I hope that means you're ready for our exercise on page 113. So I'm going to make a quick transition, and we're going to talk to our special guest, Miss Susan, in just a moment. Welcome back, class. We're going to be reviewing more of our unreal conditionals. So today we're going to be on page 113. If you want to go ahead and join us there. And today we have a special guest to help us practice some of our speaking and reviewing. It's Ms. Susan. She joined us this spring. She's been missing you guys, so thought this would be a fun way to practice some of the conversation piece, let you guys hear some different voices, and so she's agreed to come on and join us. But before we start talking and going over the exercise, wanted first just to talk to her and see how she's doing. So, Ms. Susan, how are you doing? How has this been for you?
Hello, everyone. I have missed you. I have been doing fine, although this has been hard. You know, it's hard staying home by yourself, but because I have lived alone all my life, it's not as hard as you might think. I'm kind of used to it. I have not been out. I decided that because of my age, because I had some heart issues, that I was going to stay home and not take any chances of getting sick. So luckily, I have good friends who have brought me groceries and lunches and dinners and are taking care of me. So I haven't really been out of my apartment except to go downstairs to check the mail or to go outside to meet somebody bringing me something to eat. Just kind of been fun to see them, and yet not really have a lot of interaction. I'm just trying to be very careful. So
Yes.
while it's been hard, it's been okay.
Besides staying in, what are some of the ways that you've been careful in this season?
Well, I obviously am washing my hands all the time.
Yeah.
I'm about halfway through a bottle of hand sanitizer.
That's good.
I have used the disinfectant wipes, like when I go downstairs to check the mail. I'll wipe off my mailbox sometimes. I don't always remember to do that, but because I don't know where the mailman has been, you know.
Yeah.
I've just kind of tried to be very careful about what I touch. And after I touch something outside of my apartment, then I'll always come back in. The first thing I will do is wash my hands.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you this. I've used a mask, okay? This is a mask that my niece, who lives in Atlanta, Georgia, made for me, which was very sweet for her to do. And I live in a seniors apartment building. We're all independent, but we're all older. But we are required to wear a mask every time we leave our own apartments, even if we're going to be in the halls with each other. Even though there's no virus here in our building, as far as we know, we're still being very careful not to breathe in anything. So while it's been hard, it's not impossible.
Good. What are some of the things you've been doing to help pass the time?
Well, I like to read, since I'm an English teacher, of course. So I've been reading a book about Abraham Lincoln and Franklin Roosevelt and Lyndon Johnson, three of our most famous presidents, and how they were leaders in times of crisis.
Yeah.
And that's been interesting. And I'm a sports fan, so I I'm watching old baseball games now. There's nothing going on, but I watch some TV. So I watch the news.
Yeah.
As depressing as the news is, sometimes I'll still watch it, see what's going on. So I've stayed pretty busy, all things considered.
Yeah. What do you think has been the most important thing for you to stay, stay healthy and also to stay mentally healthy during this time?
Most important thing, I think it's a good attitude. I'm not angry that I have to do this. I'm not happy about it, but I'm not angry about it, if that makes sense.
Right.
It's something that's necessary because I understand why we need to not give the virus to each other. I get that. And so I'm willing to do my part to not be anywhere where I might get it and then transport. I would hate to be the one to bring it back here to all of these nice, dear people. Yeah, that would be awful. Sure. So I'm just very careful and just haven't gone anyplace. I've gotten in my car twice to drive down to the pharmacy to pick up an eye drop prescription and come back, and that's it.
Yeah. Has your day changed much, even though you're staying at home?
No, I've gotten up about the same time, kept the same routine, pretty much. I do have a nice balcony that overlooks the pool in my apartment building, and some beautiful trees. So sometimes after dinner, I'll sit out there when it's cool. It faces the east, so I don't have to face the sun.
Yes.
That's nice. It's not hot.
Yes.
It's comfortable.
Good.
And that's relaxing and pleasant.
Good. How has community helped you in this time?
My community is not the people that I'm living with as much as it's the people that I've known from my church, from my career as a teacher, from my family. They're my community. And even though I don't see them, we communicate.
Yeah.
Online, on the phone, messages back and forth. So I know they're thinking about me and I'm thinking about them. And that helps to know that somebody knows I'm here.
Yeah, for sure. I think I saw on Facebook you had you put out a notice for some Whataburger, and someone brought you some Whataburger.
Yes, that was when was that? I don't know. One day this week, Saturday, I think. I was just hungry for a Whataburger. You know, sometimes you get a craving. Yes. And I thought, okay, I'm not going to drive over there and drive through it because I don't, you don't know who's serving you in line.
For sure.
And I realize that may be silly. And I have some friends who make fun of me for that, but I don't care because I'm going to be careful. Yeah. I've lived a long time and I'm not giving it up now.
Yeah, for sure.
for a Whataburger if I can afford it.
Yes.
I had a friend, I had a former student brought
Yes.
me my burger on Saturday night, and I was very grateful.
Yes. So it sounds like even though you are alone and you haven't been able to get out of much, you've been able to maintain your routine pretty normally.
Yes.
You've kept your mind active by reading and watching TV.
Yes.
And also
Yes.
that you have a good community that maybe you don't get to see in person, but you talk on the phone, maybe over the computer.
Yes.
They bring you food from Whataburger. And also, in a different conversation, you talked about church. Also,
Yes.
role, right?
Yes. My church, while we're not meeting, haven't met for a while, but we have, our church staff does a service, and it's filmed, and then we can watch it at home on Sunday morning as if we were there.
Yeah.
Now, there's nobody in the sanctuary but the priest at the altar and
Right.
2 or 3 other people, but that has been helpful. And also they do an evening prayer service every night where they'll come on in an audio. I don't see them, but I can hear them.
Yeah.
There's an audio of some talking in scripture and so forth, and that has helped. And my church friends have kept up with me and send me texts. How are you doing? Do you need anything? That sort of thing.
That's great. It sounds like you have a really good community.
I've got a very good community. I'm very, very aware of that and very grateful.
Great. What's the thing or things that you miss the most being in sheltered in place or self-quarantine?
Well, I've done some substitute teaching since I've been retired, and I miss that, believe it or not. I've missed getting to go and help in classrooms and be with the students. It's because that's who I am.
Yeah.
I've done that all my life, and it's kind of like, wait, there's something missing here. But I realize I can't do that right now because the schools are all closed and they won't be open until the fall, and I don't know about that, to tell you the truth.
For sure.
So that's been hard.
Yes. What's going to be the first thing you will do when you feel like it's safe to get out?
I'll probably drive over to see my sister, who lives about 45 minutes away.
Good.
Because I haven't seen her. I did see her. My niece sent the face mask to my sister. She made one for her and for me. Sent them both to her, and so we met halfway between where she lives and where I live, in a parking lot, and visited for a while there.
Yeah.
So that's the only time I've seen her in the last several months. So that's the first thing I'll do.
Good. Well, Miss Susan, we're glad you're here. We're glad you are safe, and we're glad you're going to help us out a little bit. So now, class, we're going to look at page 113 and do some practicing of our unreal conditionals. So I'll read the directions, and then we'll talk through the exercise for a minute, and then Miss Susan and I will practice. So the directions at the top of page 113 says, B, talk with a partner. Match each action with the result. Some items have more than one correct answer. Use the present unreal conditional. Just as a quick reminder, the unreal conditional has a if statement that in this sense will come from our actions column, and actions are the situation. So if this thing happens, this action happens. And we're going to use the past tense and the if statement or the action statement, and then we're going to match it with a result. So if the action happens, this will be the effect or the result of that action. And in the result, we're going to use would plus the verb. Miss Susan, there is an example at the top of page 113. Would you mind reading that for us and our students?
Yes. If everybody bought energy efficient appliances, we would save electricity. Good.
So you see, they took an action from the first column, bought energy efficient appliances. They added a if and a subject. It changed the verb to pass, and then they matched it with the result, save electricity. And they used would and added a subject. Again, let me remind you that you can match the action to a couple of different results. So there's not just one right answer. There are a couple of answers that work well with this. So, Ms. Susan, if you want to start with fix water leaks, and then we'll just trade off
Okay.
going with that.
If everybody fixed their water leaks, we would save water.
Good. If everybody replaced light bulbs with energy efficient ones, we would save electricity.
If everybody recycled cans, bottles, glass, and paper, we would reduce the amount of trash in landfills.
If everybody put enough air in their tires, we would save gas.
If everybody If everybody closed off unused rooms, we would reduce air conditioning and heating use.
Good. So another one you could say for that last one, closed off unused rooms. So what Ms. Susan said was correct. Let me say that. She did a great job. But just to show you a different way of saying it, if everybody closed off unused rooms, we would cut down on energy use. So
yes.
just what Ms. Susan said was perfect.
Yes.
But just to show you how you can match it with a different one, there's a different one you can match it with. And so buy energy efficient appliances, replace light bulbs with energy efficient ones. Those are other ones that you can have a different result as well. Okay, so students, what I would like you to do is to play this back. So rewind a little bit and play, and try to copy down what you hear, just as another listening exercise to practice writing what you hear. And also, I'd like you to practice writing it yourself. Come up with some of your own sentences. Okay. All right, let's look at the next exercise, exercise 3, where it says communicate. It says, A, work in a small group, look at the picture of the beach, talk about actions people could take to help the environment. So for example, now we're going to use the could because there's possible solutions, more than one solution. So the example is, if more people picked up the trash on the beach, everyone could enjoy a clean beach. So now we're going to make conditional clauses, sentences about the picture of the beach. Ms. Susan, would you like to make a sentence?
If everyone used containers from home, we would cut down on trash on the beach.
Good. If everyone turned off the shower after using it, we could save water.
If everyone turned off their car and didn't let it idle, we would save pollution in the air. No, we would reduce pollution in the air.
Yep. If people recycled, we could have less trash.
If we used, I don't know if we've said this, if we used containers from home, we would have less trash.
Yep. I'm looking at the trash can in the back next to the red car, that trash can is very full. And when trash cans are full, people don't want to keep putting trash in there, right? So I'm going to make a sentence about that trash can. If the city picked up the trash regularly, people would not throw their trash on the ground.
Mm-hmm. If everyone would pick up one piece of trash, we would have a cleaner beach.
Yep, that's very good. If people drove energy efficient cars, we could have less pollution.
Mm-hmm. If people used, I'm trying to think about that broken glass there on the parking lot. If people used containers from home instead of glass, there would be less broken glass on the road.
Yeah.
That's not very good, but
it works.
But it's true.
Yeah, it does.
It works. What have we left out?
If people used glass or metal containers, there would be less. We could have less plastic trash.
Yes.
I don't know. It works. Not the best.
Yes. Yes. Well, this is general, but if people were more considerate and picked up after themselves, then we would have a cleaner beach.
Yep, that's good. And that's probably a good one for us to stop on. As you can see, there are lots of different ways, different sentences we can make about this picture. And the point is just to practice trying to put the two parts together, the if with the action with the result. Ms. Susan, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing with us. I know the students will be excited to see you, and hopefully we can do this again sometime soon.
I wish I could see them, but thank you for letting me come.
Anytime.
All right.